Today, I'm going to create God. This will probably be a fairly short video because it won't actually take me very long to create God. It should be pretty clear from my previous videos that I'm not particularly keen on the biblical idea, or really I should say the biblical ideas of God. I'm not very impressed with what I find there, nor would I be particularly interested in meeting this God or worshipping him. But the question does inevitably arise, what would my ideal God be like? If I could draw up an image of God from scratch, what would they be like? Well, obviously, the first thing that comes to mind, the first thing that always comes to mind when I think of God, is Alanis Morissette.
Thank you for, I don't know, everything. God, there's a million things I wish I could ask you, most of it all questioning what I'm sure is your great plan, and that would be really arrogant of me, I know. But there is one I need to ask, and I'm sure you get it all the time. How many opportunities like this will I ever get? Why are we here?
Didn't I tell her she was funny?
So, my God would be playful. They would be funny. Those are the first qualities that I would like to see in God. Someone fun to be around, not taking anything too seriously. I imagine the world created by such a being would be a little different from this one. And then, of course, there is...
May it be a light for you in dark places when all other lights go out.
Galadriel, Queen of Lothlorien. Galadriel said no to ultimate power. She had the opportunity when Frodo was there with her in Lothlorien, when he had the ring in the palm of his hand. She had the opportunity to take that power. But there's this fantastic scene where she transforms into the kind of being that she would actually be if she had this ultimate power. And she says no to that. She passes that test. If God were indeed to create a universe in which free, sentient beings could arise, like us, then God must be willing to surrender some of their power, to really surrender it, not just pretend to surrender it. They must be prepared to share power with us. They must be prepared to give up their place of supreme dominance within this creation. And they must be willing to take an actual risk in doing this, not a pretend risk, not one that they can simply flip on its head when they're through with it, but a real risk that really costs them. Now that's the second characteristic of my God. The first is to be playful, to be funny, to be fun to be around. And the second is to be willing to divest themselves of their absolute power, to share power with us and the rest of their creation. And then, well, the God that I choose to create will be more like Iron Man than, say, Captain America. My God will be someone who plays a little lightly with the law, with the regulations, rather than being a stickler for the rules. Someone less than perfectly moral and upright, because perfectly moral and upright people generally suck. So rather than the omniscient, omnipotent, perfectly righteous God of the Bible and of the Judeo-Christian Islamic tradition, I want a playful God, a God who's willing to share power, who doesn't take themselves too seriously, and who is not bound by all the rules and regulations, particularly the rules and regulations of their own making. That God I might actually want to be around. I wouldn't necessarily worship them, but that God wouldn't want, let alone need, to be worshipped. G.K. Chesterton, who created the character Father Brown, on which that dreadful British TV show is based, we can forgive him for that. G.K. Chesterton once said of God, "It may be that he has the eternal appetite of infancy, for we have sinned and grown old, and our Father is younger than we." Once, just once in the entire Bible, the writers draw close, not very close, but within view of at least, this playful God. In chapter 2, verse 8 of Genesis, just after Adam and Eve have eaten from the fruit, we read, "Then the man and his wife heard the sound of the Lord as he was walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And they hid from the Lord God among the trees of the garden." Oh, just so close. This image of God going for a stroll in the cool of the evening. So close. Then, of course, the writers screw it up and God goes all Miss Hannigan on them.
Kid, if you think it's bad in here, it's lousy out there. I'm doing you a favor by not letting you go. What do you say?
I love you, Miss Hannigan.
I can't hear you.
I love you, Miss Hannigan.
He kicks them out of the garden and curses them and all their descendants and pretty much the whole of creation. But, God could have just gone,